Premier League Week 7 is here, so it's time for me to predict all the games, including Chelsea versus Liverpool. That's definitely going to be a close game, especially after Liverpool have been stinking out football in the last couple of games. But it's not just going to be me predicting all these games. I'm going to be going against ChatGPT and the random football scoreline generator. So let's find out who's best at predicting. Let's get into it. Starting at the Vitality Stadium, it's AFC Bournemouth versus Fulham. And this looks like a 1-1 draw, and I am so tempted. Both sides are as equal as each other, but I feel like Bournemouth have looked more exciting than the Cottagers this season so far. And because of that, and because of home advantage, I am going to edge Bournemouth to win this 2-1. But Fulham should make it a close game. After every Fulham game is close. But after losing 3-1 against Aston Villa, which haven't got a win all season, it does kind of edge it even more towards Bournemouth. But I am giving Fulham a goal because the young gem in Josh King, I think, is going to score his first goal, because he does look very exciting for Fulham. And he should already have his first goal already against Chelsea, but obviously that got ruled off.
Bournemouth's home form has been impressive. A 2-1 win over Fulham seems plausible given their consistent attack and solid defence. Their home advantage and squad depth should enable them to control the match.
Over to the mighty Ellen Road. It's Leeds United versus Tottenham Hotspur. And Leeds United, Dan James is injured for quite some time. But if you look at who's been playing at Leeds United, he hasn't really affected the games in the Premier League that much. And Leeds United are already doing well. So I think they can cope without him, especially at Ellen Road. And especially when Tottenham can't even beat last place Wolves. What's going on there, Tottenham? It was actually quite a close game and could have went either way and deserved to be a draw against Wolves. And Tottenham went to draw again against Bodo Glimt in a Desmond Tutu. They're drawing constantly. Other than the 3-0 win against Doncaster, Tottenham have been constantly drawing in recent time. So, because of that, I am definitely going down the middle for a 1-1 draw. I am tempted for a 2-1 win to Tottenham though, just because under Thomas Frank, Tottenham look pretty good defensively. And their attacking players and options have increased massively throughout the transfer window and throughout this season. So I wouldn't be surprised for a 2-1 Tottenham. But Leeds United, just the way they played against Bournemouth, or how dominant they were, I just can't imagine Leeds losing. 1-1.
Leeds United have shown resilience, but Tottenham should win 2-1 as their attacking efficiency and technical adjustments from manager Thomas Frank give them the edge. Leeds United's weaker squad depth complicates their chances.
Old Trafford up next, Manchester United versus Sunderland. And I'm tempted to just go Sunderland to win. Man United, you made it look way too easy for Brentford to score the goals. And Bruno Fernandes could have easily got a red card. That was dangerous by him in the last game against Brentford. And he missed a penalty. Your best player missed a penalty. But yes, it was a terrible penalty. He's not always going to be that bad at scoring penalties. And at home, and just looking at your squad, Man United, there is no way you can lose this game. Sunderland are newly promoted, and yes, Sunderland have been looking good, and they could easily win this, and I wouldn't be surprised, especially how bad Manchester United are looking. But Sunderland, I don't think are going to finish in top 6, are they? So at some point they are going to have to come back to reality. And Man United, the signings that they've made, I'm shocked the likes of Brian Mbeumo and Sesko, that Man United haven't properly got sailing. So I'm not going to go for you to lose entirely. I'm going for you to draw this 1-1, especially at Old Trafford, and especially after I'm expecting a huge reaction. And Sunderland, if you win, I would not be surprised.
Manchester United remain dominant at home. A 3-0 victory over Sunderland is expected due to their full-strength squad and sharp attacking options. Sunderland will struggle to cope with the pace and intensity.
Before we move on to the next game, ChatGPT, 3-0? No, that's not going to happen. Over to the Emirates Stadium, and the Gunners just won 2-0 against Olympiacos. Fantastic. And obviously, somehow late on, Newcastle bottle a win, losing it 2-1 against Arsenal. Well done, Arsenal, because I suppose if there was a better team in that game, you did seem more like the dominant side when watching it. And home against West Ham, which are all the way down in 19th in the relegation zone, I see nothing but an Arsenal win. 2-0 to Arsenal. But don't get me wrong, Nuno Espirito Santos is going to save them from survival and West Ham will stay up. But it's going to take a bit of time. And against Arsenal, if it was Graham Potter, if it was Nuno Espirito Santos, even if it was Pep Guardiola in charge of West Ham, it will still take time. And West Ham are still going to lose away from home against Arsenal, which are really closing the gap against Liverpool. Only 2 points in it between Liverpool and Arsenal now.
Arsenal have been solid defensively, making a 2-0 win over West Ham likely because of their tactical organisation and depth. West Ham's struggles against top teams make them unlikely to challenge effectively.
Over to the biggest game of the week. It's at Stamford Bridge. It's Chelsea versus Liverpool. And Chelsea, you have got 3 red cards in 4 games. So no wonder you lost to Brighton and lost to Man United. But still, it is kind of bad that you're constantly getting red cards. I don't think you're going to lose this, because the probability of you getting another red card is really low. There is no way you get another red card in this match. So I'm going for a Desmond Tutu. I am tempted to go for you to win, but you have still looked a bit shaky in some of your games. Even though you have gotten red cards, you still have lost and still only drew against Brentford. And you do have a lot of injuries like the likes of Cole Palmer. So you winning, I don't think's in the question. And I expect Liverpool to show a reaction. They've got Ekitike back in the side, but even that said, Liverpool, you have not been looking yourself. The likes of Konate is way too sloppy giving away the ball and even being outstrengthed in a lot of scenarios, Konate. And even Kirkes now and again, defensive mishaps do happen. So Liverpool, I'm a bit concerned. Losing against Galatasaray and losing against Crystal Palace is not convincing enough for me to go for a win for you. So I am going down the middle, which I think is fair. And I don't know what's going on with Enzo Maresca possibly being vulnerable to being sacked. I don't think he should. He should stay at Chelsea. No way he should be getting sacked. Chelsea are going to be fine.
Chelsea have improved recently, so a 1-1 draw with Liverpool seems probable, given defensive lapses and some fitness doubts. Both teams have quality, so the match may cancel out.
Over to the Hill Dickinson Stadium, it's Everton versus Crystal Palace. And I cannot split these sides. So I'm going for a 1-1 draw. And I know Crystal Palace managed to beat Everton's rivals Liverpool, but Everton are still a fantastic side. I know they only drew against West Ham, which isn't really an impressive draw, but they always make it a very close game, especially at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. But there is no way Crystal Palace loses this. They have been on fire, literally on fire. They are burning with energy, with intensity, going really fast, pressing forward. Their attack with Pino, Mateta, even Wharton getting involved, Sarr getting some headers from corners and just looking electrically fast. Nketiah late drama. That game couldn't have been more exciting. Crystal Palace deserved it against Liverpool to win. They are doing amazing and there is no way that Crystal Palace are losing. They have been unbeaten all season and have not lost a Premier League game since April, which is going back into last season. I'm even tempted to go for them to win, but Everton, with the likes of Jack Grealish, Dewsbury Hall, Iliman Ndiaye, is going to really cause problems and probably get a goal. So I cannot split it. 1-1.
Everton have a solid home record, and a 1-1 draw with Crystal Palace is expected due to Palace's resilience and Everton's inconsistency in attack. The game should be tightly contested with few clear chances.
Over to the best team ever, Newcastle United versus Nottingham Forest. And no, the best team ever is not Nottingham Forest. If you didn't guess, Newcastle United is 4-0 against Union, which is one of the best Belgian teams in the Champions League. That was brilliant. Fast, fluid football in the attack. And after scoring 4 goals, we could have scored again. A lovely 1-2 by Lewis Hall and Barnes. and then managed to cut it back into the penalty box. And the amount of great string, link-up play passes, triangle football at times by Newcastle is brilliant. And the squad depth Newcastle show is amazing. I mean, the fact that Newcastle, after losing against Arsenal, carried on training at like 10:30 PM, I saw it in the newspaper, to actually score goals and training in scoring, shows the dedication Newcastle have. And scoring 4 goals in the Champions League shows that Newcastle are back on scoring form. And Newcastle, we haven't scored many this season, so I think it's time to score, especially when Ange Postecoglou is in charge of Nottingham Forest, and it might be a bit more open on the way Ange plays. Ange, you were unlucky not to at least get a draw against Sunderland, because I thought maybe you deserved a bit more, but you still lost against Sunderland, and Newcastle got this one in the bag, especially at St James's Park. 3-1 to Newcastle United. I'm so hyped, but I could imagine Nottingham Forest giving Newcastle quite a good game at times, because Morgan Gibbs-White is still going to make Newcastle struggle, and that's why I'm giving Nottingham Forest a goal. But Newcastle's quality will shine, and Nottingham Forest will not be able to handle Newcastle's intensity.
Newcastle United are in excellent form, so a 2-0 victory over Nottingham Forest seems likely, thanks to their defensive stability and attacking depth. Forest's defence struggles should be exploited.
Wolverhampton Wanderers at the Molineux Stadium facing Brighton and Hove Albion. And I'm sorry, Wolves, I know you got a deserved draw against Tottenham, and you are incredibly lucky to be stolen right at the last minute. Your win, stolen. So I am tempted to go for a draw, but Brighton just have too much quality. I'm sorry, just on a quality basis, I've got a sense feeling that Brighton's going to win this. They are just better. And they are fighting for Europe while you're in a relegation battle. So in my eyes, 2-1 Brighton. I'm going to make it close because I was genuinely shocked on how you actually played against Tottenham. Like, genuinely, you actually had a really close game. You had similar amount of chances, similar amount of possession, similar amount of intensity. So it's going to be close. But Brighton, they've got the quality edge.
Wolverhampton Wanderers are still seeking a win, and a 3-1 victory for Brighton looks probable because of their fluid attacking style and squad rotation. But Wolves' defensive issues will likely be exposed, so Brighton scoring isn't out of the question.
Over to Villa Park, Aston Villa versus Burnley, and Aston Villa won 3-1 versus Fulham, finally scoring more goals. They obviously scored their first goal before that game, but this time they actually scored multiple goals in a game. Well done, Aston Villa. And that goal scoring form is going to continue. Now you've done it once, you're going to continue doing it. But going against Burnley, on how compact and tight that defence is, in a low block under Scott Parker, honestly, it's going to be low scoring. I know Burnley, it kind of opened up in the second half against Man City, losing 5-1, but that's against Man City. Aston Villa still struggled to score this season. So I'm only going 1 goal for Aston Villa. 1-0 to Aston Villa, because you're at home, Aston Villa, because you're starting to improve, Aston Villa. In your goal scoring form, you're gonna win this. I see it coming. The old Aston Villa from last season is gonna start performing again, especially under Unai Emery. Even through terrible poor form, Aston Villa can flourish under the tactics of Unai Emery. But Burnley, their defence is going to keep this one tight.
Aston Villa have been strong at home, so a 2-0 win over Burnley seems likely due to their tactical structure and attacking options. Burnley's adaptation to the Premier League intensity makes them unlikely to threaten.
Now over to the G-Tech Community Stadium, Brentford versus Manchester City. Can I quickly say, Igor Thiago, he's starting to make a name for himself. 4 goals now in the Premier League. Fantastic against Manchester United, scoring more goals there. Kevin Schade looks brilliant. And throughout the season, I think Kevin Schade, Igor Thiago and Dango Otara is gonna be the new trio. The new good trio at Brentford. I suppose you could say a new version of Ivan Toney, Yohan Wissa and Brian Mbeumo. They've now been replaced. But even so, I still feel like in other areas of the pitch, you are weaker than you were last season. So you are going to struggle. But you are going to score a goal against Man City because your attack looks pretty good, like I said. But that's about it. I think Man City's quality is so much better than Man United. 4-1 Manchester City. Erling Haaland is on another level. He scored 8 goals and is by far the top goal scorer already. I'm sorry Brentford, but Man City is gonna dominate this and win. I know they only drew against Monaco 2-2, but that's just one game. Other than that, they've battered the likes of Burnley 5-1. And I think they are just way too good for Brentford.
Manchester City continue to dominate. A 3-0 victory over Brentford seems certain because of their superior squad quality and tactical organisation. Brentford will struggle to cope with their pace and precision.
You know what? The random football scoreline generator, other than the Brentford winning 3-2 against Man City, Burnley winning 2-0 against Aston Villa, although I could see that actually happen, and West Ham winning 3-1 against Arsenal, other than those three, the rest are very plausible. So the random football scoreline generator could finally have a good week. But what is my goal of the week? I'm giving it to Sean Longstaff. Now I know he did say he kind of didn't know where he was going to hit it, and it was a bit scuffed. It still was a fantastic outside of the boot, top right finish, curling shot. And it looked amazing. So I'm giving that as my goal of the week. And Sean Longstaff has been phenomenal for Leeds United. But the scores are on the doors. I got 3 points last week. ChatGPT got 5 points. And the random football scoreline generator got 3 points. I had an awful week. Let's not speak about it anymore. Overall, that puts me on 33 points. I'm still beating ChatGPT as ChatGPT has 29 points. And the random football scoreline generator is stuck on 18 points. So overall, I'm still winning. That's the main thing. Hopefully you're going to have a lovely day. Get your predictions down below. And toodaloo.